Hey y'all, hey, welcome back to And Another Thing with Dr. Tash podcast. So listen, today we're talking about burnout amongst Black women. Yeah, yes, listen, it's time to have that conversation because there's a lot going on in society. There's a lot going on in our lives. There's a lot that's on our plates. And listen, it is so easy to burn out. So listen, let's have us a great conversation today on what burnout really is, signs of burnout, and how we can navigate burnout, okay? And so I know that burnout is just such a hot topic lately, but how many of us can really describe what it is, right? And so let's look at the basic of it. Burnout is that overwhelming feeling of being physically, emotionally, and mentally drained. Physically, emotionally, mentally drained, usually from prolonged stress. Now, get it. Some of the details, some of our daily chores, some of the things that we have to do, ambitions that we have, they come with a level of stress and we can navigate short periods of stress. But our bodies, our nervous system is not built to carry prolonged stress. Stress will show up in so many different ways: sickness, headaches, stomach aches, migraines, and digestive issues, gastrointestinal issues, sleep issues, weight change. You name it, stress is the invisible killer behind so many of the ailments that Black women have. Y'all. And it's stress. So that prolonged stress definitely leads to burnout, right? And so it is when you are tired all the time and you're usually detached from some of the things that you care about and you just feel stuck at times. It's like you're on this hamster wheel and you're doing it. You're doing things because they have to be done, not because you care about doing them. Say ouch if you hear me. Like for real. And for us as Black women, burnout isn't just about overworking and being tired. It is tied to so much more. It is tied to systemic racism, gender inequality, cultural expectations. I really need to do a podcast alone on cultural expectations of Black women. I am often come against the strong Black women persona syndrome that comes against the humanity, the limitations of Black women, that things are piled on us that aren't piled on our white counterpart. It's not. So there's a belief that we can handle it. We got it. It's okay. You know, she can do it. She's going to get it done. Give it to so and so because she's going to take care of it. But while we're taking care of it, what are other people doing? Y'all have already heard me talk about us overproducing so other people can underproduce. It's a time to call it quits. Nah, that ain't it. Right? And so it's looking at how cultural expectations really leads us to burnout. Not only does it lead us to burnout, but it actually also leads us to not living in and on purpose. We can't be intentional when we are reaching for expectations that's impossible for anyone to achieve. You hear me? So let's just put that right there, right? And so with the strong Black woman, right, it doesn't allow us to just be and have limitation. And sometimes we are groomed to think that we can take on the world because grandma did it, great grandma did it, every other woman in history did it. But did it land them in healthy relationships with themselves and with others? No. It left them sick and tired of being sick and tired, y'all. Let's just be real. And it left them having to be more resilient than they needed to be, which our body isn't created for that. So burnout. So causes of burnout, right? So I talked already about the cultural expressions, but what about gender equality, right? How many Black women carry a double load in managing careers, being parents, domestication in the homes? Let's talk about gender inequality in that, right? The mental and emotional load, The untransferable mental and emotional load that Black women carry versus everyone else. Let's sit in for a minute. Let's talk about the pay gap, right? So when we are working, what does that look like? Let's talk about the pay gap. So there's a gap in wages. And so Black women are often paid less than counterparts with the same qualification. And so if you work a 9 to 5, 8 to 4, 7 to 3, 6 to 2, whatever it is, I bet you probably have to go home and now tend to do some house chores, right? If you have children, if you have a spouse, if you have community obligation, just because you're not getting paid for it doesn't mean it's not work, and doesn't mean that it doesn't add stress to already what's going on in your life. If it's hitting home, say ouch. I have worked with in community with too many women that says, yo, I am tired because it's a lot. And y'all, it is. And my whole purpose is to work with women to live in and on purpose. So I'm challenging you in this session, in this episode, to reorganize your lives to where we're putting self-care at the top. And what that possibly means is that we say no to a whole lot. And I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to myself too. I'm including myself, because when you deal with ambitious Black women, we think that we can do it all and have it all. And I'm not saying that we can't have it all, because I do believe we can. We just probably can't have it all at the same time. So pacing ourselves is big, and putting boundaries on people, places, and things. People, places, and things. And once you identify your boundaries, now it's time to enforce them. Can I get an ouch? Because just letting people know that this is a boundary, boundaries need to be enforced. So it's two-pronged. One, I identify them, and now I have to enforce them. And enforcing them, that's the icky part, but that's the part that actually our mind, body, and soul needs. Let's talk about signs that you might be burned out, right? Emotionally, you might feel sad, frustrated, or just off in certain ways that you can't put your finger on. You just be like, oh, y'all know when you just wake up, you lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, go to grab your phone. Most of us grab our phones top of the morning because got to check in on the world. And you just lay there like, take that deep breath like, I don't even feel like dealing with today. I don't, like I'm already tired and I just slept all night. Y'all know what I'm talking about? So that kind of expression first thing in the morning, right? We can't even be grateful before we are bombarded with our daily chores of the day. Let's talk about it. So emotionally, might I add that emotional burnout doesn't go away just because you got a good night's rest. The question that continually arises when I think of emotions and or mental burnout is that's spiritual. What do you do when your soul is tired? Not just your body. I slept all night last night. What are you doing when your soul is tired? When a nap just won't do. That's when it's time to rearrange and reorganize how we do our lives. Okay. Listen. Another sign of burnout. Physically, you could be dealing with that constant fatigue. No matter how long you rest, no matter how much you sleep at night, you're still tired. Physical burnout shows up in headaches, or when your immune system is beat down because you're not getting proper rest and you're constantly sick. I just got over a cold. I'm sick again. I thought I was over this. I guess it didn't go away. It's not necessarily that you just get sick to get sick, but it's somatic. It is when our body is telling us something that we are emotionally or mentally not well, and it's producing itself. It's showing up through sickness. Pay attention to how often you get sick. And a caveat to this, a side note, take your vitamins. Get on some vitamins. Get on a good one a day. Okay? And for most Black women, get on some vitamin D. It'll bless you. Another sign is behaviorally. You probably start to withdraw from things that you normally do or that you found joy in just to do nothing. Like nothing. Like you're not getting anything done. You're literally on this hamster wheel. And lastly, mentally, what does that look like? Struggling to focus and find yourself doubting your abilities. In an area where you can do the job, when you sit at your computer or when you go to actually execute, you can't do it. And let's not talk about anxiety when that shows up in your body, when you feel jittery, restless. Listen, it's showing up. And so we need to look at that. The impact of burnout is long lasting. It affects every single part of your life. Like I said, it leads to anxiety, depression, or even PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. It can even lead to PTSD, right? Because that type of prolonged stress is traumatic to our body. It's traumatic to our minds. Physically, it puts you at risk, like I said, the high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, you name it. Chronic illnesses that we don't necessarily need. It can strain our relationships. It makes it harder for us to connect with loved ones. It makes us harder to start relationship. Because when we're in a phase of burnout, we are not ourselves. We're not. We are governed and we interact with a shell of who we are until we do some course correction. And lastly, it shows up in your career. What does that mean, Dr. Tash, right? Burnout can lead to missed opportunities because you're too drained to show up fully. Burnout takes life literally from us. Literally. But there's ways to heal. And that's what I want y'all to get to. We're going to heal this burnout thing, right? We're going to prioritize self-care. We're going to take other people out of the center of our universe and we're going to put us in it. I do some kind of teaching on that, on reorganizing our lives, our universe. We all live in our own universe, our own ecosystem. And when we're not in the center of it, we support other people. And there's this gravitational pull that goes in the wrong direction. But neither here nor there. I'm going to probably do that later. But learning that self-care isn't selfish, it is survival. Pause this podcast. Self-care is not selfish, it is survival. You know what comes with self-care? Boundaries. Boundaries. We've already talked about that. If I could bang on this death, I'm so animated because Black burnout is real, child. So if we say no without being guilty, but that means that we already have to have a sense of self in order to implement and enforce boundaries. Make time for rest, exercise, and the things that bring you joy. It sounds so simple, but it is very hard to retrain our mind and our bodies to do so. But that's at the top of my list. Find your people. Build a support system. What does that look like? Whether it's friends, family, communities, Black women understand what you are going through and will help you enforce the boundaries. They will talk you up to say, now you doing a whole lot, and what about so? You doing a whole lot, and I didn't hear you say that so-and-so was helping. Sis, why are you doing this? We need that accountability. We need somebody to anchor us. So we need to get in a community of other women, and good, but sisterhood heals. So that anchors us. That be like, nah, you going above and beyond. Okay? Seek professional help. If you need a therapist, child, go find you one. Therapyforblackgirls.com. Go find you a therapy is a go. And you want to be able, when you're looking for a therapist, to look for culturally competent therapists who can address unique challenges Black women face. So just don't go out here willy-nilly and be like, that just say get in therapy. Yeah, cool. But make sure that they are uniquely competent and aware of challenges that Black women face. Advocate for change. If this is at work, if this is in your home, with your children, challenge the stereotypes of male and female domestication roles. Like literally use your voice to say, I'm not, I can't, I ain't. Lastly, we want to celebrate milestones. Celebrate as often as you can. Sometimes the most radical thing you can do is rest and celebrate. There is joy in resistance, y'all. And rest does not have to be earned. It doesn't. Give yourself permission to rest and experience joy. Let's pause. What brings you joy? Do you know what brings you joy? Do we have to explore what brings you joy? What brings you joy? Not just happiness. Because I think that happiness is fleeting, right? But you want this deep, abiding joy. What brings you joy? Jot that down. Find that. And let's talk about the distinction between happiness and joy. Because I could be happy at 9 a.m. with some pancakes, eggs, and bacon, right? But by 3 p.m., what would make me happy is something totally different. But when there's this deep, abiding joy, it doesn't matter the time of day or the season, this brings me joy. And I want you to tap into joy. Finding joy is resistance to burnout. Give yourself permission to laugh, dance, have joy, and just be. Listen, burnout is real and it is tough, right? But you do not have to go through it alone. You deserve rest. You deserve joy. You deserve to live in abundance. Your nervous system deserves to be calm. So listen, set some priorities, set some boundaries, rearrange how life looks for you. Embrace the ability of no without an explanation. I ain't. Embrace it. Love on yourself. Find a community to love you. Listen, let's talk about burnout. Let's talk about reshaping lives. Let's talk about living life to the fullest. Listen, I'm Dr. Tash, your coach, your mentor, your podcast host. Let's go out here, live life, and be brave. Until next time.